Hi there, Chris here with another fresh tip for you all. In this video we are going to continue our look at painting Scinari Cathallar from Lumineth Realm Lords. And in this video we're going to work on the base. To get us started, we're going to use some Ushabti bone, and I'm just using my wash brush here because it's got a nice big point to it, and we're just doing a really kind of rough base coat here. I'm just kind of slapping this paint on. I'm not too worried about brush strokes or anything like that, and it really just the dampness of the brush to thin the paint out ever so slightly. Although as I get around towards the toes, I do want to be kind of mindful, as I do not want to get any paint onto those details, as I kind of worked on those pretty much with any color. Really, you just want to be mindful of how you're laying it down. Jacaro orange and some Vallejo acrylic retarder. This is basically a 1-to-1 ratio of retardant to paint. And after thoroughly mixing it all up, I'm going to use the same brush and basically quickly lay this down on top of the Ushabti bone. We're just working on the stone, as it were, the column or whatever it is. I'm not too worried about those dirt details or the grass details. And as I lay it down, because we have the retardant in there, we have plenty of time to simply draw the excess off and allow for a little bit of creating some texture and such. And so this is really a fun way of just basically, creating your blends and your highlights, as we're just feathering out the excess paint. Really, I'm just looking to have mostly Jacaro orange in the recesses, and we are just basically going to pull this color out. So I just quickly slap the paint on with a clean dry brush. We simply draw the excess off, and again, this allows us the opportunity to feather out the paint and allow some of that Ushabti bone to show through, giving us our color transitions on the surface. And so basically we're just going to pull off the larger areas and go for a nice transition along these kind of pedestals. It's kind of got like this Corinthian column kind of vibe going on, which is kind of cool. It looks like a big kind of petals and everything like that. So we're going to run with that. And again, I just quickly slap the paint down. It's really haphazardly, although I'm trying to be careful as I get close to the model. So again, this is really where using a brush with some long bristles to it actually is a big advantage when doing this kind of stuff, because you can quickly lay a lot of paint down, and you can be fairly mindful as you lay it down. Here where the broken portion of the column is, again, we just quickly scrub it in. And then I decided, I was going to draw it off, but then I thought, I could just use my finger. And there we go. I just pulled that whole layer off and got my transitions in there. And I decided, we'll do that around some of the other column portions. Here I lay some of this mixture down on top of the, this like little wheat thing here. So it looks kind of like wheat. I don't know. And here I'm just simply using my finger to pull some of the excess paint off from those edges, getting for a pure kind of Ushabti bone along the edges. And I was pretty happy with how it was looking. Again, because the paint is got retardant in it, we have plenty of time to play around with that. Once it's all dry, of course, this is given some time to dry, I use some Terminus stone. This is Citadel dry. I'm going to use a small dry brush, and with this I'm only looking to catch just the raised edges. Now this is pretty close to Ushabti bone in value, but again, I just wanted to bring out some of that brighter tone. We could have came in with something like Screaming Skull and dry brush this on as well. If you really want to go for a really contrasty kind of look, by all means, if you're going to duplicate this kind of look on the column or any base for that matter. Again, the reason why I went with the bone and orange is because I wanted to kind of echo what was going on with the model and her hair, and I wanted this base to kind of have similar vibes as far as the whole model's concerned, because when the model kind of reflects the base, it kind of denotes a bit of mood as far as these elves being sort of in tune with their environment kind of thing, that whole trope. Steel Legion Drab is next. We're going to slap this onto the base. We're going to paint this onto the dirt details as well as the rim, because people like doing Steel Legion Drab for the rim. So I'm simply going to cover, basically get two birds with one stone kind of thing here. And I lay this on top of the big flat area of the base as well, just because I wasn't 100% sure which direction I was going to go for the base as I was working on it. And I'm just doing the that debris around the column in this color as well. Again, I wasn't 100% sure which direction I was going for all this, so I decided to use some Agrax Earthshade. This is primarily for the dirt debris kind of thing on the base, that sculpted little rubble or whatever it is. I could have done it in the column colors as well, but I decided, meh, it's dirt. It's just dirt, and so I figured some Agrax Earthshade to bring the tone down, because I could dry brush it and bring that texture out and everything like that. I also hit some of the flat area of the base in the Agrax Earthshade, just, in case I was gonna, I was thinking of using a Grillian Earth at this point, but I decided on Sterling Mud. I'm going to use a texture brush here from Citadel to apply this. It's like a little spatula, and I butt this up against the sculpted, the rubble, the sculpted rubble, the detail there, and then of course work it along the flat portion of the base as well. And I'm not laying it too heavily, although it is pretty generous. And I actually end up hitting the bottom portion of that column there with some of the color there, as this is a really deep dark brown. It's got really fantastic texture to it, and I was just really looking for just kind of marrying that rubble detail with the Sterling Mud and just kind of have a unified kind of look to it all. And here I'm just simply using my finger to wipe the excess away along the edge of the rim, so it's nice and even and nice and neat, as it were. We'll set it aside, allow it to completely dry, and then we're going to come in with some Cyberite Green. Again, I wanted to kind of mirror what we had going on with the model, and so that's why I'm using this color here for the grass and the stems of the kind of wheat plant that is there. It looks like wheat to me. I don't know what it is, but it looks like wheat. And oftentimes when it is fresh, it is green. I think the official model kind of has these kind of painted in a bone color, and so I didn't want to go for that dried look. I put 2 layers down on the grass and then use some Minotaurum green here. And very generously, I apply this, pushing the color towards the base or the roots of the plant, so it gets nice and dark down there towards the bottom of the plant, or plants, I don't know. It's a little bushel of grass. I have no idea. I'm not a botanist. I'm a painter. And with that, it just changes the value ever so slightly, pushing towards more of a organic color. Xandri Dust is next. We're going to slap a little bit onto our palette. We're going to use a medium dry brush from Citadel here. Basically, this is a 1/2-inch brush, flat. And with this, I just very, very gently dry brush the surface. And I also try and get the sculpted rubble portion as well with this color, so that it all kind of is mostly seamless in that regard. And here, I'm also not worried about hitting the column, as this is a very light color. And in fact, it probably is not noticeable if you were to dry brush the column in this color. You probably would see it, but I wasn't too concerned with it. Again, it will look like dust on the column, as if we were weathering it and what have yous. Once I'm satisfied with that, I'm going to come in with some Ogren Camo, and this is going to be a highlight color for our plant. And really quickly here, I'm just going to use my detail brush, bringing this up towards the high points of each of the little leaves. Again, I started with the Cyberite Green just to help kind of visualize these colors in here. Again, kind of mirroring the green of her dress and the green of the plant, and of course the orange at the top of the seeds, pods, whatever they are. We're going to jump back into some Steel Legion Drab just to reinforce that rim, as the dry brushing did bring some of that color down into the rim. So here I'm just really quickly reinforcing that color and also cleaning up those edges along the base. That's really just about it there. With this, we're pretty much done the model. Got a little extra on that rim there, so I just basically take some Sterling Mud and just kind of clean that edge up. Guilliman Flesh, Citadel Contrast. I wanted to create a little bit more separation from the toes from the statue, and so I just simply use this very carefully around the bottom of the foot and just pick out those toes and create some better separation there. And with that, she is done. This is Scinari Cathallar from the Lumineth Realm Lords in Age of Sigmar. This is the last video on this model. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this one. Be sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe and ring the bell and all that other stuff. A huge thank you to my patrons. Without their support, these videos would not be possible. If you're considering Patreon support, click the link in the description below. There are varying tiers of support, so click whatever makes sense to you. And a huge thank you to everybody who does. Without you guys, it just wouldn't be possible to do all this. Take care of those brushes, and they will take care of you.